Nuke is in the house.
What up, people?
What up, people?
Where's my cool cats and kittens at?
We have
Oh,
we have our special co-host today. We have Nuka in the house.
Nuka. Hi, baby. Hi, Nuka. Hi, baby. You such a pretty boy.
All right, so welcome to Late Night Snax.
Torture the dog through the computer. Why not? What did he say? He said, "I love you too. Where are you?"
You're saying my name. I know. I can hear you. Where'd you go?
Yeah. I hear you.
So anyway, we are Late Night Snax.
Here we are.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Snax on this ferocious Friday. Or should it be fierce? This is a good episode for fierce. Fierce Friday.
Yeah, Fierce Friday. Yeah.
There you go.
Today we are going to be discussing episode 3 of season 3.
Three. It's the lucky number.
Lucky number. This episode is called The Replacements.
And we're not talking about the football team, y'all.
No,
No.
we're not. All right. And B is in the house.
Mwah. Hope you're doing well where you're at today, babe. Let's see.
We are now going to introduce ourselves. I am DeWanda. Our
Who is usually the leader of this gang. In other words, the one who keeps everybody in line.
Yep. The lovely lady in the middle is Miss Irish Melly.
Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you guys.
Nuka's pop.
And of course, we have Magic Mike
Nuka's
and Nuka.
Wait, which way? This way. I always forget it's backwards, and then it's weird trying to do stuff like point and everything.
Well,
I am basically I am the key master of the group, pretty much, because
we go. You are our key master. Not anymore. Ha ha ha! I stole your key.
No, you didn't. You're just borrowing it.
I'm borrowing it. No. I got my own key to the back door now.
She's got her own key to the back door. But anyway.
Don't show up after 10.
All right.
Oh, I gotta pull up the chat or I won't see anything.
Yeah.
He said, SCB said, "Yep, he's doing good over there." Good. I'm glad to hear that, babe.
I was up all night doing logging for you, Mel.
I know, and I was up all night getting them.
I'm in April now, almost done.
Wait, are you doing all the ones?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
And then I'll get it all set up on our group, and I will create a tab for it.
So everybody can find it.
Yeah, we'll create an album and a tab.
Yep. We're actually becoming rather professional now. Isn't that scary?
We were always professional. We just decided we'd see what it'd be like to not be.
Exactly. That's my whole career, but now it's time to let loose.
Okay, so let's talk about the episode, shall we?
Let's chat. This is the episode about Luke.
Yeah,
and his mom.
This is
we get our first introduction to Patty LaPone, the wonderful Patty LaPone.
Shut up, Patty LaPone.
Yeah, Patty LaPone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's Jack and Will and Grace. He says, "Shut up, Patty LaPone."
Oh, I know.
Shut up, Patty LaPone.
So he was being funny.
Go on Patty LaPone's Instagram or Twitter or whatever the hell she's on and watch her during this quarantine. She's so funny. Oh my gosh, she's hilarious.
Hey, Debbie.
Debbie's in the house.
Well, you know what? We're glad you're at least half here. Thank you. Yes. As long as you show up 1%, that's all we ask.
That's all we ask for. We don't ask for much. I mean,
maybe we might even take 0.5%.
Believe it or not, I'm surprised the three of us even showed up here because we were up until what, 4?
No, there's like, what's going on?
Or-
So the girls, the
For
women
your
just come
time,
every day, 1
remember,
o'clock in the
that
morning.
means 6 my time.
I know.
I went to bed after the call.
I went to
I
I
didn't.
went to
I
bed.
was up for
I
another
went to
hour
bed
and a
like
half.
maybe 20. I went to bed maybe like 20 to 30 minutes after we ended.
What were we talking
So
about?
probably about
1 o'clock in the morning.
6:30.
I was up for like another hour and a half after that because I still had this stuff I had to get done. I was like, I gotta go to sleep.
Oh, man.
Okay.
That's all right. So we all got to take a nap today.
No, I didn't.
I start till 10.
But I'm not complaining.
Oh, let's see. Oh, Debbie said she's half here because her daughter stopped by with groceries.
Yay!
Well, that was nice of her. Thank you, Debbie's daughter. I don't know your name, but thank you because we love Debbie, which means we love you.
Okay, so this is an interesting episode because we're setting up a lot of plots,
many
here.
different plots.
Yeah. We get the introduction to the neighbors next door that are moving into the. We get the introduction to the neighbors next door.
The hottie Luke.
Yes,
Hottie
the hottie.
Luke.
And his religious nut mother.
Yeah,
You
her
got
name.
Nan,
I don't
Nan,
remember her name. What's her character name?
Her name is Joan.
Joan. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Joan.
him and his mom. And Nan and what's her face are on the balcony watching him. And he's got no
no.
shirt on.
No, there was. No, it's 3 of them. It was Queenie, Nan, and Madison.
Yeah. And then
Nan's the one that's, they're all kind of turned on by him, but Nan's the one that's kind of smitten.
Well, and then because they're watching him move stuff in, and he looks so muscular, and he's around their age, so of course it's attractive for them. And then he takes his shirt off, and he's all ripped all the way up, and they're like, "Ah."
But then we get the truth because Joan loses her mind. She says, "Put your clothes on. God wouldn't want this."
Yeah, because she sees the girls looking down at him, and she's like, you better put your damn clothes on right now.
Yeah, so he's got
God will smite you.
Carry mother.
God will smite you.
Yep, he's got a carry mother.
Yeah.
And then I know we leave from there, but eventually the girls, Nan and Madison, go next door with a cake to welcome the neighbors and go meet the new boy.
Nan bakes him a cake, and of course Madison's wearing the sexy dress.
Hey, what did he say? Wasn't it vanilla with yellow buttercream? Because she knew it'd be his favorite.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. Sneaky little bitch. Use your powers for good. There you go.
Yeah, so they go up to the door, and Madison's like, "What do you expect to accomplish with a cake?" And she's like, "We're being neighborly."
Yeah, she knew what she was accomplishing with that cake. She knew the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Of course.
Yeah, Nan wants his heart.
Nan wants his heart.
Madison wants his dick. That's it.
Yeah,
exactly. Madison wants to be Madison.
And then, of course, the only thing that Luke is interested in is the cake itself. And he's cutting the cake, and he's like complimenting Nan because she baked it on her own.
Although he seemed a little more interested in Nan, obviously, than Madison. Like he wasn't turned on when Madison was trying to flirt with him and be sexual. But he seemed like he was excited and enjoyed, because I don't care what he says. He cut that cake, and then you saw how he licked his finger and he was looking at Nan. He was into Nan. He was into Nan from the jump.
Yeah, he knew.
He brought it fake good.
Yeah, he knew who was treating him right. He knew who was respectful, and that's the kind of guy that he is. And he appreciated what Nan did for him, and he was completely turned off by what Madison was trying to do. And that had nothing to do with his mother. That was just
Madison's like, "Are you really gonna pass me over for a cake?" And he goes, "I have a feeling you're used to being passed over a lot." And I'm like,
yeah. And it's funny because when you first hear that line, the way he delivers it sounds like he's saying it as in like, being passed over, like looked over, like nobody wants you.
Yeah.
And like he was being sarcastic, but then you realize what he's saying with being passed over, as in passed around.
It's like,
I was like, my God, this was great.
Well, she just went through that crisis,
And then Joan walks in the room.
Now, did Joan pull the knife on her, or did Madison just think she pulled the knife on her?
No. basically, Luke had the knife in his hand and he put it down, and basically Madison picked it up. She had it in her hand.
Yeah.
And, she had no intention of basically stabbing her with it, and then Joan basically said something and pissed her off, so she made the knife fly past her head.
Well, it looked like there was a little scuffle there right in the second. Yeah, I thought that Joan was trying to pull the knife on her.
And that's when she kicked them both out.
Yeah, because the knife went flying across the room.
Yeah.
How's that happen?
Yeah. Well, and then what happened?
Well, then
the curtains catch on fire.
And that's important. That's the whole takeaway from the scene.
Yes, I was going to say this is very important. That's the whole point, like you said, of them even having this scene of them going next door, because that's just secondary plot, which we don't even need. But okay, fine, it's there. But just like the Minotaur thing, I mean, it's important, but it's not. But the whole reason was to set him up. But yeah, this is just to set up the whole point that Madison lit the curtains on fire.
Yeah, because
the whole scene. Right. As the episode will play out, we will learn that there's a reason that this was introduced this early, is because this early we're supposed to believe that Madison is the front runner for the new Supreme. That she was the one
which they really wanted you to believe that, because as we've said and reported many times before, Ryan Murphy has said that originally they set Madison up to be the Supreme because the big kicker was going to be that Zoe was going to be the new Supreme, and that's why they started setting her up. But at the last minute, right before they were filming those scenes, they decided to change it and make Cordelia. Spoiler.
See, Cordelia. I always thought it was Cordelia. I never thought anybody else was Cordelia.
Right, and I think that's why they changed it, because it did flow so much better as her.
Yeah, that's all I ever thought. It was the only one that made sense.
It set up everybody else's plot and everything if you really look at it.
Yeah. Well, it's like they tried so hard with everybody else.
If you really look at it, the whole point of this story is literally Cordelia's story. It really is. We just get a little bit of sprinkled in from everybody else around her, but it's mainly Cordelia's story about becoming the Supreme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And see, in the way they handle Cordelia, it was natural. Everybody else, it was forced. It was like, look, Madison's going to do, step one.
And that's why they changed it. That's why they changed it, because they realized it flowed better. It made more sense. It wasn't forced. And this was their third season. And it's the witches, Ryan Murphy's baby. So, he wanted it to be perfect.
Nice.
So they went through a lot of rewrites on this season.
We'll get there. You can do it.
They did a lot of rewrites during this season, during filming.
Yeah.
Go. Come on.
Well, and the season feels disjointed because of it, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think this season kind of has a bunch of little false starts and false kind of directions it goes, and then it finally gets where it's going.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
No, where'd you go?
I'm here.
Okay.
No, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, I had to check something real quick.
Okay.
And I didn't want you staring at my frozen face, so I gave you my icon. Because my luck, I'll be frozen with my mouth open looking crazy or something.
Yeah, so like the next couple episodes is where the show starts to like kind of lose its direction and kind of veer off in like little different plot points and not know what it was going to do at that point. I think there's in this season, because of this whole plot of who is the Supreme, it had way too many little plot threads.
Yeah, like, that's why it's
way
so
too many
hard
people and just way too many complications.
But Joan goes over with a Bible to the school.
Fiona's not having any part of it.
Fiona's sitting at the table. She's having a drink and whatnot, and kicking back. And then Joan is just like, so 2 of your girls showed up at my house bearing baked goods, and one of them tried to
stab me, threw a knife at
my head, and then, of course, Fiona has the best lines, otherwise known as, well, I guess Madison needs to work on her aim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know the drapes were set on fire at this point?
Yeah, Joan actually says, well, and she set my curtains on fire. And she's like,
and that's where Fiona's like,
Cordelia figured it out.
Wait a minute, yeah, something's not good. Because then we're going to go to Fiona's story, and we're learning this episode that Fiona's got some concerns about her dying, and we learn that, and now in the Coven, or in this witch's lifestyle, that when a supreme starts to fade, that means another is on the rise. A new supreme is on the rise. And now that we've learned since episode 1, that Fiona's got a lot of health problems. She's desperate to search for something to keep her vibrant, keep her more alive. And we find out why now. Because when she goes, that means she's losing everything. She's losing the supremacy.
Oh yeah, because she actually goes and sees a doctor, and the doctor's basically diagnoses her with cancer. There's nothing that they can do to help her at this point.
And this sets Fiona in a tailspin to find out who, because she wants to find out who and get rid of that person, so that gives her more longevity.
So while all this is happening, we have a flashback to when Fiona was a teenager.
Yes,
and she's
we
talking
get to meet her supreme.
She's talking to her mentor, who was Annalie Layton.
Annalie Layton.
Who was the supreme?
Ooh, sorry.
Who was her supreme when she was a teenager?
Yeah, when she was in school there, and we see that what all do we see in this introduction? We don't get the big reveal yet, do we?
We see the flashback with her and Fiona.
Yeah.
And
we see her talking to Fiona, and Fiona basically being cocky like she is, but even more so as a teenager, I think. And then she's kind of like, well, I'm the head honcho now. I'm the next supreme. And she's like, well, you better be careful. I'm still here. And then she proceeds to slit her throat, because that was her whole plan, was to be mad at her and kill her.
Do we get that in this first scene?
Huh?
That's what I was asking. Do we get the part of this first scene?
Well, no, I was just recapping what happens with the scene instead of jumping around. It seems easier.
Yeah, basically Fiona murders her supreme to advance, to become a supreme. So the whole
on purpose. Yes.
Yeah.
We need to point out that it's on purpose.
On purpose.
Because when we see the parallel.
So the show is telling us if you know you're the next supreme, or you have the power to be the next supreme, you can take it whenever you want. The person doesn't have to actually go.
Well, that's if they see it coming, depending on their powers too, because the whole thing is, like, we know with Nan being clairvoyant, and that's one of the 7 wonders. Why didn't Annalie see it coming? Are you not allowed to see your own death? Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or maybe she's blind to it. She's cut herself because she wasn't figuring that she was, because she may not have been on the decline. She may have been felt really, really healthy. Because usually it's when you're on the decline that you feel a new one.
She looked healthy. She didn't, and she lit up a cigarette. Not that means anything, but she didn't look like she was unhealthy. She didn't look like Fiona looks now, where she looks like she's withering away.
Yeah.
Her makeup was very nice. She looked very pristine. Her clothing, everything.
Yeah, she's probably the peak of her game.
Yeah.
Right.
So we find out that Fiona kills her supreme to advance, and then we go back to Madison standing in the doorway, and she says something to Joan. I can't remember exactly what it was.
And Fiona takes this same instance.
And basically Joan leaves after dropping off the Bible and
praying and preaching and holy.
And being mad.
And then Fiona has a conversation with Madison, has her come over and sit down and do all that stuff, and you
can start to see the parallels. You're like, oh, once again, this is trying to tell us what you just saw with the whole Fiona thing. This is happening again. History repeats.
That's why they showed it to us right before, because we would have forgot about it otherwise.
So basically, she's trying to keep Madison as close to her as possible, because she's under the impression that Madison is taking her powers.
Right. But I mean, we have to point out too that Fiona seems genuine in these scenes with Madison, that like she's ready to throw in the towel and give it to Madison. Because the whole time we're seeing her search out youth and fighting it, wanting to be the ultimate supreme and continuing immortality being the supreme and everything, because she goes to Marie Laveau and everything. But in these scenes with Madison, she seems genuine, like she realizes my time is up.
Yeah.
Like she didn't seem like she was plotting after her or anything.
She wants Madison to believe that, so Madison will put down her guard.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically her whole plan, because she goes to see a doctor, and the doctor tells her she has cancer and she's dying, and there's nothing that she
You ain't in a good place, lady.
And then we have the parallel with where Fiona, or where Cordelia goes to see Marie
Laveau.
and she basically says, "I'm not going to help you."
First, we're getting Marie Laveau. We get Marie Laveau last episode.
Well, yeah, because we Fiona went and saw her
that's right.
The episode before.
We learned it. Yeah, we learned basically it was like almost like the two tribes, and Fiona saying, my house, your house. Let's stay out of each other's way, kind of deal. So now we know that they set up who Marie Laveau is in this lifetime. Because remember, Marie Laveau had lived since the 1800s, and but she's still here. She's still with us. She's immortal. But we learned that she's just as a powerhouse of like Fiona is. And they've got their own warring factions, their own tribes. And
Cordelia at the same time had made an appointment with her doctor because her husband was out of town, and he didn't know that she went to do this because she wanted to find out, can she have a baby? Is there anything they can do? And the doctor said, no, I'm afraid you're never going to be able to have a baby. And so she's of course like devastated. So she goes to Marie Laveau to talk to her about a fertility spell.
Yeah, and see, this is another one of them little plot threads. It's like, okay, why is Cordelia's whole infertility pushing anywhere in the show? Because it really never comes to fruition about anything. It really doesn't do much except for break the truce between Marie Laveau's camp and the Coven. That's really all this scene does, is by Cordelia going and basically crossing picket lines or whatever. And she's messed with that. She's messed with that truce.
Yeah.
And Marie Laveau, we learned that Marie Laveau is very serious about what she does with her voodoo, that these things are not taken lightly, and that she wouldn't perform these things on a Coven witch and blah 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 blah, which she will later, but at this point she's not having any part of it.
Right. And let's see where we're going to go back. So now we're going to go back to the fact that Fiona has Madison with her. They end up going out for like an entire day, and she was just trying to watch her to find out the kind of things that she can do, and just to see her in action.
Yep.
And they end up going to a bar. She ends up seeing herself in Madison when she was younger, because you see flashbacks, basically the same thing. And they end up going back to the school. Both of them are drunk, and they're standing in like the living room, the foyer, something like that. They're looking at all the portraits of the earlier Supremes, and talking about, well, my portrait will go over here and your portrait will go over there. And then she pulls out the knife, or I think it was like a letter opener or something.
Yeah.
She pulled, and for some reason she still has it. She's still carrying it around with her today.
Well, yes, but it's as crude of a sentiment it is. It's a significant part of Fiona's life.
Mm-hmm. And so she proceeds to try and give it to Madison, so Madison can end her life and take her powers. But then it turns around and Fiona ends up slitting her throat.
Yep, she takes Madison's life.
In the exact same spot where she slit Annalie Layton's throat.
History repeating
itself. And then we see a flash of Spaulding, who's standing there again, watching the whole thing happen. And she goes,
Spaulding doesn't speak.
And Spaulding doesn't speak. He just stands there, walks up and gives her a handkerchief. She wipes off her hands, goes and sits down, and basically she basically sits there and says, this Coven doesn't need a new Supreme. It needs a new rug.
Yep.
And then she basically tells Spaulding to bury her deep, because
now we learn that Spaulding's a kind of a little gopher boy, he's loyal.
Yeah.
And might we say, what another amazing performance by him, that just he takes this whole character, this entire season, and says just as much as everybody else in this cast without saying a word. I mean, Dennis is absolutely phenomenal in these characters that he just hides behind. He's a great character actor. He just gets lost in those characters. I really hope we see him back at some
I know,
point.
me too. Me too. But we also get to see Lily Robb today in this episode as well. Yay! I have to give her major snaps because I love everything that she does.
Yep, Lily Rabb is absolutely. I said it before. I said I think she's the best this show has to offer.
Yeah,
as far as just pure talent.
We go back to her shack and she's taking care of Kyle.
Frank Kyle. Which really was a dumb character.
I know in my opinion, they wasted his potential.
They completely wasted Evan. It's like you've got this character what the character goes through and what he's where he's significant in Zoe's story is one thing, but to have this actor who is immensely talented, who's a huge staple of the show, who just came off of Asylum, carrying the entire season pretty much on one shoulder, the other two carrying it on the other. But it's like he's phenomenal, and then to have his character completely and it's not like Evan. My computer's not doing anything. It's not like Evan wanted to do like
totally wasted him this time.
Yeah, it's not like Evan had just come off a cult and needed a break. This character that he goes to, Kyle, takes a lot of prosthetics and takes a lot of physical movement and body movement and the jerking and the muscle stuff. So it's not like he wasn't working on set every single day. It's just that he just got nothing to do.
It was almost like they didn't know what to do with him this season.
And I wonder if that character was secondary looked at after the season was over as just being so stupid, so useless, is why he wasn't included in Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason, there's no linear story reason for him not to be included in Apocalypse. He would have been there.
I know. I mean, because we do get the background of his mother, who is definitely
Mare
Winningham.
Yeah, she's another one that's just got pure talent. See, again, bring it back to the beginning. I keep mentioning this every season that we go through. Every time we cover one of these things, is these characters, how these characters are written, and how these actors portray these characters. That's what the show was all about. That's what it was founded to be on. It was founded to be on phenomenal actors doing different characters each season and showing their true talent. Showing that, one season I could do a house servant with no tongue. The next season I can do a transsexual woman running a hotel, and you won't know it's me either way. I mean, that's what this show was founded on. And then it became such a convoluted mess with all this inner story and connection and stuff. They lost their way of the purity of just a selection of actors doing different roles.
Right. Because we have, she's taking care of Kyle. He's pretty much healed, but obviously he's not all there, which is sad, complete waste. And Zoe shows up and ends up taking him back to his mother. Big mistake.
Oh.
Big mistake.
Oh man, it's hard to watch.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I love Mare Winningham, because I do, I have loved her from the beginning of her acting career, but.
I mean, this is a different level of abuse that you're seeing here, because you're not seeing any of the necessary abuse right now at this moment, but by her actions, your mind just floods you with all the abuse that he must have gone through. Mm-hmm. And she does it so well that it's very in your face. It's very real. It's very visceral. And when she starts kissing on him the way she does, it's just, oh man, your heart breaks for Kyle.
Yeah. And then, that we get the whole setup. First, we think that she's actually just a grieving mother, and then we find out exactly how she actually is with Kyle, and it's just
Kyle was her life, in every way, and all the way up to a sexual, intimate relationship that they had, and obviously Kyle was tormented by it.
Yeah, judging by what he does.
Mm-hmm. Whoa. Well, he flips out. Yeah. Well, yeah. So Zoe leaves him there. They make an arrangement. Or no. Zoe visits her first before Kyle even shows up, and she wanted to tell his mother that Kyle had died. basically, and that the mother was like, well, wait a minute, you guys weren't boyfriend and girlfriend, but no, she's like, no, we're just acquaintances, just friends or whatever. She says, and then Zoe had to leave because it got too sad for her because she thought that that Kyle's mother was just so much more pain and everything from his death, and Zoe couldn't handle the guilt, so she takes off, and she's like trying to figure something out, and then what she decides to do is she decides to bring Kyle back to the house and drop him off alone with none of her involvement. And that's where shit goes wrong.
Yeah.
This is where Kyle comes in, and the mother acts like, "Oh my God, my long lost son / boyfriend / whatever sick bitch is back, and we're my life's gonna be together again." And then she starts realizing, "Wait, you're not my son. This is not. I know my son's body. That's what you are. Oh God, I know every inch of my son's body, and this is not Kyle's body, but this is his face. This is not his mind." And she starts putting all this together, and then she gets frustrated. She gets frustrated to the point where she says, I thought I got everything good in my life back, and I got nothing. And she starts kind of emotionally kind of lashing out at him, and Kyle flips. Kyle
flips out.
Yep.
And basically beats her to death with a trophy.
Yep. And she is left for dead.
Yep. But she had managed to call Zoe before all this happened.
So
and
Zoe
was
can
on
pick
her
him up.
way over to the house. And she walked in and found her on the floor.
Yeah.
And then she turned around and saw Kyle covered in blood.
Yep. She says, "Oh God."
So
what did I do? Now she's got guilt from Kyle's death. Now she's got guilt from Kyle's mother's death. This bitch can't win at all.
Ooh.
Oh damn! I missed the whole part with Kyle and his mom. Yeah, that bitch crazy.
You can still we just finished it. You
oh
can.
My God. I honestly this is almost this is my most disturbing scene of the season.
Like I said, Mary Wingham plays it so well that you knew all the abuse that Kyle went through.
I know, and I hate that it was Mare who had to play this role, even though she did an amazing job, because it made me not like her, and I love her. She's such an amazing actress.
I know.
What we should be covering each season as we're doing this is who got award nominations per season.
Oh yeah,
because the talent is just so immense. This kind of
portrayal doesn't always dictate talent either.
Oh no, but some of these things should be recognized, and if they happen, we should say so.
Well, of course. I don't know if there were any nominations. Coven though.
Do not know either.
I do not know. I know it was for Murder.
Debbie said it was too hot for her outside. She's really here now.
Oh, hi, Debbie.
And she said, Dennis is so good. He and Franny are my number ones.
Yep.
And she said, is this the one with Patty LaPone? Yes.
Yes, it is.
That's what we were talking about, Deb. Yes. We're talking about Crazy Bible Mom. You missed that part, but yeah. Because that's how we open. That's when we open is with Luke taking his shirt off and the girls oogling him.
Yep. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Kathy Bates.
Nice. Nice. My favorite meme in the world. Nice.
She's so amazing.
What she's talking about is basically her racism.
I know, because she's such
She's sitting there. Well, it's very, very common. It was very real to those white aristocrats. Back in that day, they were slave owners and shit. And,
they really are.
Yeah, and so when she wakes up, she's in this room, and she's been brought to this form room, and forced to sit in front of the television, which she wouldn't know what television is. Period. She's like, with magic, she keeps calling it, and she's seen Barack Obama as president. And she thinks she's watching a fiction. In her comprehension, in her mind, that would never have happened. Absolutely never.
Because she's in tears and she's like, that magic box lies.
She lies.
That magic box says that we elected a Negro.
A Negro president.
A Negro president. All this
we voted for her twice.
And then giving her. Well, it opens up an incredible discussion because by electing the first Black president, look at what it has done to our society now.
It shows you that parallel. with what Lala Reed believes, which a lot of people still do. And then to show you, like you said, we've come a long way. We still have a long way to go, but we definitely have come a long way.
Whenever you invoke such massive social change, you take 2 steps forward, 1.5 steps back, and that is what we have done. You know, we've gone so far, and you know, we elected a black man president, and you know, issued gay rights, and did all this amazing stuff during Barack Obama's tenure, and the people opposed to that, people opposed to the change, were so in shock.
Well, you do realize most people that were opposed to the change during Barack Obama's term wasn't because they were opposed to what he was trying to change. It was because they were opposed to him.
Correct.
They made it personal because he was a black man and they refused.
And look at the lashback from it. You know, look at who we got now, and look at what's happening in the state. It's, you know, you move forward, but you have to move back to move forward again. And we went forward. That's
actually a little side note. If you guys ever really need some positivity when it comes to the country and just being positive about this whole coronavirus, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, follow them on Twitter, because their tweets, I mean, are so positive and amazing. I mean, because obviously that's who they are, but they're genuinely like that, and it's just refreshing. And if you miss Barack Obama, it's one way to get him back.
They're actually, people were actually pushing for Michelle to run with Joe. Amazing. Yeah. It'll never happen. But
no, she doesn't want that. She does not want it. She's been there. She's done it. She doesn't want to go back.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't think you know, the only thing that would convince her, I'm sure, is if they handed her the presidency and said, you have to do this for the sake of people, for the sake, she would.
Right. It would have to be to save mankind. Yeah. We will invoke.
She wouldn't volunteer to do
Obama.
it. She would not volunteer to do it. But can you imagine? Michelle's so awesome. Oh my God, Michelle's amazing. All right,
so we're now going to go back to the episode.
Yeah, sorry.
I steer.
I found it interesting.
I'm steering. Okay. So anyway, Fiona walks in the room. She ends up presenting. The maid's uniform.
Yes, to Kathy. Yeah. Like, okay, well, you own servants. While you're in my care, you're going to be my servant. Are you going to be? Did she say she was going to be Queenie's servant yet?
No, not yet.
No. She just tells her basically you're the maid because she needs to hide her out, so she needs a cover story.
You're either going to do this or it's back in the box with you.
Yeah.
Right.
So
because she knows at some point if she doesn't do something, Cordelia's going to just walk in and find her and figure it out.
Yeah. So she has to do something about it. So she's in the maid's uniform and she's getting ready to serve dinner to the girls. And this is where we have the interaction with Queenie.
Oh yeah, she's not serving no meal to her Negro.
She's standing there with the tray, and she refuses to wait on Queenie because she's black and all that other stuff. And she's like, "You better bring me that food," or she said something, and so she walks over.
Yeah, Queenie says like, "You better put that plate down in front of me right now."
Yeah, so she walks over. She gets ready to put it down, and she throws it against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's when Fiona's like, "Oh, okay."
That's when Queenie stands up and like wants to snap at him.
Yes,
and then Fiona walks in and said, "What's going on?" And Queenie says, "You know, this she refuses to serve me." And she goes, "Oh, we're not going to be doing any of that. So as of right now, Queenie, she is your servant. Whatever you need done, you ask her, she will do it."
Well, see,
no. She said, "You tell her, she will
do it."
Fiona even told Lalaurie. Yeah, Lalaurie. She told her the number one thing she hates in this world is a racist.
Yes.
Yep.
And so as soon as
which it's funny. It's funny that Fiona has morals.
Yeah.
You know.
Of that caliber. Yeah, you of that caliber, because you would figure Fiona would never give a shit about something like that.
And especially after us just seeing Mama Dog corrals the kids. Yes. But, after just seeing, like the scene with her and DeLongpre, when she kills the Supreme and everything, and you see how she is. So then it was like, it was very different to see that, like, oh, you don't care about killing someone so you can have all the power in the world, but you care if somebody's a racist.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really a neat twist to her character, because it's like
Yeah,
at first you're like, oh, she's just
it
saying
shows
that.
you that she does have things she cares about.
Well, I figure you would automatically dismiss it coming from Fiona, but then when you learn, she's dead serious. It's the number one thing she hates. She hates a racist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we get a scene with her and Queenie in the kitchen, and she's having Lullery make her chicken pot pie and a peach cobbler. She's sitting there with a sandwich, and she's like, "Well, food's not going to replace love. You're not going to be able to find someone like that." And
which now we will find out it's setting up the next scene.
Yep.
Well, the line of the episode for me was in this scene, and I forgot to write it down. Queenie was saying something to the effect about her weight, and she said she'd seen a doctor or seen a nutritionist or something. What was the line? And a doctor about her weight, and Valerie says, "You need to see another doctor."
You need a new doctor.
Yeah,
something like that.
But then she sees
that New Orleans accent.
So then she sees a glimpse of Bastian.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And freaks out. Weird. Starts locking the door. And Queenie's like, "What the hell? What's going on?"
And right before they see Bastian, this is when Delphine is telling Queenie, when they were having that kind of little nice moment when she's telling her, about her weight and stuff and about finding a man. She's telling her about love and finding a man and being with one and all of that stuff, and then it sets up what happens with Queenie.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a nice moment though, because like we're not supposed to like Kathy.
Yeah, very short-lived. But see, but by the time the season rolls around, we do like her. It's an amazing parallel to the beginning of her story to the end of her story.
You're totally right, because even at the end, we still like her, even though she's a bad guy throughout the whole thing. She doesn't have a changing arc where suddenly we're rooting for her or anything. She stays the same with her morals, beliefs, behaviors.
We're rooting for her change so much.
Yeah,
exactly. And she never does, but we still like her. It's because it's Kathy Bates.
Yeah.
Well, and it's because it's played to the sincerity of it.
You're right. I mean, I'm joking, but obviously, yeah. I mean, she did. She played that role amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just.
But then
I think it's her best role in the series.
I was just gonna say, I think it's one of her best roles in AHS. Not in her career, but in AHS.
I mean, and to debut with that role on AHS.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Kathy has become such a staple.
And then we already had Jessica Lange, which we know is a TV movie icon in the business. But for most people who were watching this show, the generation that was watching this, Kathy Bates was more of an icon at first until you really understood and got to know the characters. But Kathy Bates was more of an icon in the industry. Yeah. And then to see her pop up in season 3, you're like, oh my God, they got Kathy Bates in this show. This is going to be amazing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And to have her character, she hit it.
And I love that they still do that. You know what I mean? Where they bring in big names, like they bring in unknowns, but they bring in big iconic names that are damn good that you just can't get enough of. That which I'm very interested to see this year or next year, technically now, with Macaulay Culkin, how that's going to play out. I want to know if he's going to play the drugged out, gay guy like he's done before. Or is he going to play somebody who's more sophisticated, put together? You know what I mean? Like, which way are they going with it? Because he's done both, and we know he's also in his real life done both and been crazy. So it's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
Well, the great thing about Kathy Bates, and then to a degree Angela Bassett as well, when they came into season 3 and had such a high caliber, I think their presence and Kathy Bates really carrying a lot of hotel made the transition out of Jessica that much easier, because Kathy Bates was there.
And that's why they brought. I guarantee you, that's why they brought Kathy in season 3.
Mm-hmm. Kathy and Dennis carried.
They knew. Well, even if they didn't know when Jessica was leaving, they knew eventually she was going to. She'd been talking about retirement for years. Yeah. You know, she's still retired and unretired and everything.
The Countess role could have been played by Jessica. It could have been either way. They could have played it as a much older vampiress and Countess. Yeah. It would have been a different take, but it could have been
because they still would have made her look younger and youthful because of the whole vampire thing and whatnot.
I think after
Hotel, you're right. You're totally right.
After Hotel is where you start seeing seasons where Jessica wouldn't have had a role, wouldn't have really fit in. But Hotel, I think, was still written in the fact that if Jessica was still around, she could have done it.
Mm-hmm. So the last scene we have is with Queenie and Bastian. Because she...
I've been waiting to talk about this one.
Right. Here we go. Yeah. So Queenie says she's gonna go out there and take care of the problem, but she cuts Delphine first to get some blood on the rag.
Mm-hmm. To get the smell.
Unlocks the door and basically starts baiting Bastian, and then she has the big speech of don't you want to be loved, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So she basically let's set this up. Basically, Queenie cuts Delphine to get the blood to attract the Minotaur to Delphine so that she can try to, we're assuming, do some kind of spell to reverse it going after Delphine.
Right. That was the plan.
Or to draw it away to thinking it's Delphine because of the blood. Right. But what we really get is Queenie decides, you know what, Delphine was right. I am fat and beautiful. I deserve a man. Here's one right now. I'm going to go seduce this fucking Minotaur man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blood is a
mind blown.
Blown.
Mind blown. That is definitely W2. That is
this is honestly one of AHS has a lot of weird shit. Okay, in each season, there's a lot of weird shit. But this, honestly, this tops my weird AHS shit. It really does. For pointless plots that are weird as fuck, this is number one.
Have we ever had Gabrielle Sidibe on the record talking about it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I guarantee.
Remember, Gabrielle Sidibe was a very young actress at the time.
She probably did somewhere, but I haven't found it.
She had done Precious, and that was about it of her, big actress role at the time. So for her,
because she's directing now. She's directing.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Yes, she's directed a lot of big name stuff with a lot of big name African American actresses, and they've done and helped her with stuff.
But for her to come on,
they've worked for her.
Actress at the time and do scenes is just crazy. I could not imagine what was going through her mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was definitely
WTF. She was on Precious.
Yeah.
Yes, Michael.
But she was on Precious, and Precious
this is a moment, Michael.
That's so funny. It was delayed. That was really weird. We saw your mouth move, and then you moved your head away, and then we heard it.
Yep.
It's funny. That made it even more a WTF moment.
Yeah.
Let's see, especially since she basically gets gored to death. Don't they have to bring her back next episode? Yeah, I believe it is the next episode is when they bring her back. Yeah. But yeah, she goes out there to seduce and possibly fuck a Minotaur. And she says, you know what, let's do it. And he says, I'm going to stab you to death, bitch. What the fuck did you expect a Minotaur to do?
Well, wait, didn't they have some sex before the stabbing?
No.
No.
He was behind her and he was like touching her, but she was taking it very seductively. I don't think he was at all. No. And he was trying to get close to her, and she was like, "Oh, this feels so good, orgasm." And then guess what? Stab.
Rub.
Enjoy your orgasm, bitch. It's the last one you're gonna have for a while.
Because you're gonna be hurting. You're gonna be hurting.
Right. If you come, wait. We don't know. So if you come back from the dead,
and that's the end of the episode. It's like
that's the end.
The episode. It's like,
what a way to end.
Woo!
So where we left it, what we left the episode is Queen's possibly dead. Madison is dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's 2 girls in the Coven that we think now may be out of the picture of the running for, whatever's going on with Fiona, because we haven't really established exactly the whole succession for Supreme yet. We just know that it's got something to do with all this now.
Yes.
And right now, 2 of them are supposedly dead. Well, one of them is dead. The other one is supposedly dead.
Now, kind of story, Zoe picked him up after she found out that he killed his mom.
He killed his mother. Yeah, she left with him. Now we find out that's when she takes him back to Misty's, right?
That doesn't happen until the next episode.
That's what I'm saying. Next episode.
Yeah. Good old Kyle's bumping everybody too later.
Nah. What's the point of Kyle? They don't bring him back or anything.
I don't know. Michael and I were just talking about the fact that they completely wasted Evan Peters' time in this.
Well, and it's the fact that everybody did multiple roles, and Evan's no stranger to playing multiple roles in a season, as he did right before that. So why couldn't he play something he'd already played? Because nobody else can play it but him, and he's there. It's not like he took that season off.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It was a missed opportunity. I totally agree.
He was on set every single day there.
Yeah. All they would have had to do is mess up his hair and put black clothes on him.
Yeah, well, all the physicality that he had to do for Kyle was like all this work. It's like, then why didn't you make it more of a prominent character? He's already putting in the work.
Yeah.
Great. I only ever heard that Evan himself was asking for a break after Cult, not after Asylum.
No.
Yeah.
After Cult.
Not Asylum, you mean Apocalypse.
After Cult, because
you mean Apocalypse.
He would be rare to work, It's odd. It was an odd choice.
He said in multiple interviews that it took him 2 years to recover from Cult.
Yeah, I'm sure. He's probably still not recovered from it.
All right, let's see. Debbie said, so much disturbing imagery in this episode. Yes, you're so right. And she said, yeah, there really is. There's so much in this episode. And B said, a great episode sets up some good plot points. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely, a plot episode. Here's the story. The first 2 episodes, we just met the witches. This is where we met the story.
Yeah, Zoe's still being a whiner.
Massive eye roll whiner.
That's Thaisa.
This
massive is where eye roll. Debbie did a massive eye roll for that one. Not an eye roll, a massive eye roll.
Season one, I mentioned, remember, that I just didn't think Thaisa was, bless her heart, I just didn't think Thaisa was up to the challenge that these other actors are. And this starts to show here. It starts to show that all the
I think she had not gotten her craft, pardon the pun, where it is at today. She was not there yet. No. And I think she was also kind of typecast in that moment, because if you look at Zoe, when Zoe first starts out, she was very much Violet.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, and it sucks. It sucks because we love the fact that we can watch each season with the same exact actors, and we don't even look at them as if it's a continuation. It's not confusing. It's not weird. Like it's brand new. It makes sense. And with her, we didn't get that feeling. There was very much a Violet feeling. Even her clothes looked very much like Violet, except they were just all black.
Well, see, the girl from Roanoke is the same way. It's the same character.
And we're not
although the Roanoke character seems a little younger, mature wise, but exactly the same. You're right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that's right.
And that's sucks because the beautiful thing is that nobody gets typecast in AHS.
Nope.
Except for Thaisa.
For her, yeah. She's the only one.
I mean, Gabby Sidibe typecast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not banging on her.
Well, no, because remember in Freak Show, the character she played was very different.
Who?
Gabrielle Sidibe.
Oh, no, that's what I said. I said even Gabrielle Sidibe didn't get typecast.
I thought you were saying she did. Yeah, you're right, though. Yeah. But for some reason, Thaisa, I mean, it's almost exactly the same, like I said, down to her clothes.
Yeah.
And the way she plays the character, the tone she uses, everything is Violet all over again. And it's like, my God, I want to like Thaisa, but I really don't like her anymore. It's not the characters, it's her.
I hate
Am
to
I
say
the
it.
only one who would love to have her sister?
Yes, see, that's what I'm saying. Did Thaisa?
I would love to see Vera.
I would.
Vera would be great.
Did Vera give Thaisa a favor? That's what I was curious for the first season. I wonder if Thaisa got this job because of Vera.
Possibly, but maybe she just had other things in the works, because I mean, we see where her career kind of took off, and I'm sure she was brought with the Conjuring thing sooner, before it was, obviously way before they'd even done it, because they're looking for the actor and they kind of tweak their roles around the actor. So yeah, I don't know, because that whole Conjuring franchise.
Thaisa got into that franchise because of Vera.
Yes.
And that was terrible. It was terrible.
See what happens when you do family favors. This is why they say you don't mix family and business. You don't mix friends and business. You don't mix money and business.
Do it on your own accord.
I would love to see Vera in American Horror Story.
Put your own stuff out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think she'd be amazing.
Yeah, Vera, does anybody know what the new Conjuring is about?
Let's see. Debbie said Vera is one of her favorite actors.
Yeah.
Actresses.
Or are we being politically correct? It's PC now just to say actor again.
I believe so, yeah.
Just actor. They're all
well, it's always been the Screen Actors Guild, so I guess might as well.
Yeah. What do we know what the new Conjuring is about?
No.
Oh, yes. I forget the case. I believe it was 1983 or 86, something like that. But it's a boy who's possessed, and this is where it starts to get to where it started to get dirty with them being accused of things, or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
Is around the time of the publicity of this case.
Is this
that they're working on? No.
No? Okay.
No.
I thought they were going to do that one.
They were contemplating that one.
Yeah, I need to get that book again. It's an amazing book of all their cases. I used to have it.
Let's
see. Ryan collects award winners and children of greats. Yes, I don't care for actress. We don't say doctress. You're right. You're so right.
Yeah.
We don't say doctress. Nope. We don't say lawyeress.
Yeah, no. The whole actress thing came from a time in the industry was very sexist. You separated your actresses from your actors because actresses.
Well, right, and that's what it was. It was to separate them, not for a positive. It was to separate them for a negative.
Right. Directors and producers play things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, guys. So that is the end of our episode for today.
Oh shit! Where's the wand?
Wand of the day. Wand of the day.
What is our wand of the day? Are you ready?
I made a big old mess this morning. I'm trying to clean it up. So today, because it's Coven, because it's Coven, today we will do one of the head female mothers of witches, and this is Molly Weasley.
Oh,
nice.
Matronly one, just very motherly.
Very much like her.
Yeah,
it's because it's never about her. It's about her children, and she takes care of them. And
everything comes first before herself. Even her husband's want is more intricate than hers. Yep, very, very much her. Yep.
So, and we will be back tomorrow with our next episode of RuPaul, and
what is it? 10
Saturday. Tomorrow.
Saturday's RuPaul.
Yeah, RuPaul. Yeah, Saturday RuPaul. Sunday.
Michael and I are going to continue.
Finish up. Possibly finish up Tiger King.
Possibly finishing up.
We'll see how far we get.
Yes. So that is the plan.
And because Tiger King's kind of run its course, we want to say a few things about it and kind of wrap that up. And unless there's any breaking news on it, which I don't think, Tiger King was very much that early sequester thing that everybody was going crazy about. Right now,
well, now it's the beginning of May, so now all the new stuff is out. So we don't need Tiger King anymore. Everybody's on to something new.
We want to wrap it up.
And then Monday we are coming back to cover
episode 4. Oh no. Monday. Oh yeah, let's announce. Monday we are covering Ryan Murphy's Hollywood for all of you.
Yes.
Tuesday we'll get back to the Coven for episode 4.
Yes.
So start watching Hollywood if you haven't watched now, because we're covering it. I haven't even watched. We're covering it.
It dropped on Netflix.
I'm gonna tell you guys, like I told you guys, I'm gonna tell everybody. I watched the first episode last night. I was able to watch it, and I'm gonna start watching some this evening. I honestly wasn't too keen on the whole idea of this. It's not usually the kind of story I go for. And I generally, I don't like necessarily older stuff like this unless it really grabs me, like the time period anyway. And I really enjoyed the first episode, and it really made me be like, well, I at least want to check out the second one, because if I like it and it gets into the second episode and it's still good, there's a good chance the rest of it's probably still going to be good. So it's worth at least giving the first episode a watch and feel it out and see if you're going to like it or not. But I really think, knowing our audience, I think you guys are really going to like it.
And it's really funny how many people come running to me about history revisionists and stuff. I don't know if you're gonna like this, but hang in there. So
it's because we know how you feel about it.
Right.
It's about certain events in history.
Just remember, it's fun to reimagine.
Yep.
Depending on what you're reimagining. That's
true. So for all you cool cats and kittens, please come and join us tomorrow evening as we again talk about RuPaul and Drag Race.
Yes. We're getting close to the end here with RuPaul.
Yes,
There's been no announcement.
Episode 10.
Yeah, 10. There has been no announcement, no plan on the finale, so it's going to be really interesting to see what they do.
Yeah. So just keep your notification bells hit, so you guys are notified every time we upload, because if we have breaking RuPaul news about the finale, if we get any AHS breaking news, we will definitely come to you guys with that. So you guys go ahead, hit that bell so you're notified every time we upload or go live.
Yep.
All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey,
we'll see you guys soon.
Hit the like bell, because YouTube takes us way too seriously.
Yeah, they do. Way too seriously. And we're out.